Ever get that feeling where your words just sort of bounce off? You know exactly what you mean. It's crystal clear in your head, but uh, the other person just isn't getting it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Maybe you're trying to explain like a project update or even just what you need for dinner, and it feels like you're speaking completely different languages.
Mm-hmm. Those communication breakdowns are
Yeah.
so frustrating.
Right. We've all been there.
And often the key isn't just, the information itself. It's more about how we actually put those words together, the way we structure it, how we deliver it.
Exactly. It reminds me, think about making coffee. You can just throw some grounds in hot water,
Yeah.
right? And well, you'll get coffee.
Basic coffee.
But if you start thinking about the grind size, the water temp, how you pour,
Mm,
suddenly it's a much, much better cup.
right. It's the craft behind it.
Yes. And we're exploring a similar idea today, but for our words. It's called language design thinking. And look, it's not about being some kind of linguistic genius.
No, not at all.
It's really about bringing a bit more intention, a bit more thought into how we craft our messages so they actually land the way we want them to.
And if that word design sounds a bit intimidating, like you need special skills,
Yeah.
don't worry. It's really just about being more aware, more conscious of the choices we're constantly making with language.
It's practical. Anyone can develop this skill.
Definitely.
So to really dive into this, we're going to look at a conversation from this really interesting place called the Language Design Thinking Cafe, Koto Hatsumugi.
Okay.
Picture this cozy little cafe, and there's Nekokichi, who's described as a word barista, kind of like this wise, like black cat figure who really knows language.
A word barista. I like that.
Right. And he's chatting with Kotoha, who's a young professional, maybe first year on the job, just figuring out workplace communication.
So we're eavesdropping on their chat, essentially.
Pretty much. Our goal here is to pull out the really useful, practical insights from their conversation, show you how you can start thinking like a language designer yourself to make your own communication, well, better.
Sounds good. Let's get into it.
Okay, so first things first. Why even bother with language design? What's the point? Kotoha, our young pro, she apparently learned this the hard way, had a bit of a communication mishap.
Yeah, she did. So Kotoho was in a meeting, right? And her boss asks for a quick update on something she's working on.
Okay, standard situation.
And she replies with something super common.
Hmm.
I am currently handling it. I will report back again during our next meeting.
Sounds pretty normal, doesn't it? I'm on it. We've all said that or something like it.
We have. But the result, well, her boss was basically left completely in the dark.
Ah.
Yeah. Didn't know how much progress she'd actually made, what the problems might be, when things might really be done. Just nothing concrete.
And how did Kotoha feel?
According to the source, she felt awful. Like she'd backed herself into a corner with this vague response. She apparently wished she could just disappear.
Oh, wow. That feeling of instant regret after saying something vague.
Mm.
Yeah, that hits home.
It's a perfect example of just sort of using words automatically, almost like a reflex, without really thinking about the impact they'll have.
But okay, thankfully, she didn't just give up. She had a better experience later when she tried a different approach, right?
She did. The next time she had a complex task to report on, she consciously planned it out. She actually designed her communication.
How so? What did she say?
She explained it to her boss like this. Okay, the goal for this matter is to achieve state XX. Now, to do that, the possible approaches I've considered are Plan A and Plan B.
Okay, already much clearer.
Right. And then she went on. The advantages of Plan A are this and this, and the disadvantages are these. And for Plan B, the pros are, detailing the pros and cons for each.
So she laid out the options, the thinking behind them.
Exactly.
Very structured.
And the boss's reaction this time must have been different.
Completely different. Her boss immediately said something like, okay, I see. I get the whole picture now.
Based on your analysis, yeah, Plan B seems less risky this time. Okay, let's go with that. But, he added, be careful about this specific aspect. So, he understood, made a clear decision, and even offered specific advice.
What a turnaround, just from changing how she communicated.
Huge, isn't it?
So what was the secret sauce? What did Nekokichi, the word barista, say was the key difference?
He called it language design. Simple as that. In her successful attempt, Kotoa did a few things. First, she calmly analyzed the situation, the actual information she needed to get across. That's what they call the ideational aspect. Think of it as the what.
Okay, the content. Makes sense.
Then second, she carefully considered the order and focus. How to present things so her boss could easily follow her logic. That's the textual aspect. the how of structuring the message.
The structure, the flow.
Got it. And finally, she chose her words deliberately, thinking about her relationship with her boss, the tone. That's the interpersonal side, the other how to convey it respectfully and clearly.
So the first time was just grabbing a common phrase off the shelf, almost. The second time was like custom building the message, a strategic design.
Precisely. And it shows just how much difference that thoughtful approach can make to the outcome. It wasn't just different words, it was a different strategy.
Okay, this is making a lot of sense. So if we want to get better at this language design, how do we actually do it? Nekokichi mentioned a framework, something called SFL.
Yes, SFL, Systemic Functional Linguistics. Now hang on, I know that sounds super academic and maybe a bit scary.
Yeah, linguistics always sounds heavy.
But the core idea Nikukichi presents is actually really straightforward and practical. He even uses a hamburger analogy.
A hamburger. Okay, now you're speaking my language. Lay it on me.
All right, so the basic idea behind SFL is this. Language is a network of choices. Every single time we speak or write, whether we realize it or not, we're picking from this huge menu of options, words, sentence structures, tones.
Okay, like choosing ingredients.
Exactly. And SFL helps us understand the different angles or perspectives we can use when making those choices. They call these meta functions. Think of them as the three main tools in your language design toolkit. And the hamburger helps explain them.
All right, let's build this language burger. What's tool number one? The patty.
Tool number one is the ideational meta function. And yes, you can think of this as the core ingredients in the hamburger, the patty, the lettuce, the tomato, the cheese, whatever you put inside.
The substance.
Exactly. In language, this is the actual content of your message, the what you're communicating. It's about conveying facts, experiences, who did what, where it happened, what the situation is. It's the core information.
Got it. Ideational ingredients, the what? What's next? The bun. Assembly.
Next is the textual meta function. Now think about how you put that burger together. How do you stack the ingredients so it makes sense and doesn't fall apart? And maybe what kind of wrapper do you use?
The presentation, the structure.
Precisely. In language, this is all about how you structure your information. What order do things go in? What gets emphasized? How do you link ideas together smoothly? It involves sentence structure, connecting words, how you introduce new versus old information. It's about making the message clear and easy to, well, digest.
Okay, so textual assembly and wrapping equals the how-to structure. Makes sense. What's the final layer? The service.
You got it. The final one is the interpersonal meta function. Think about the person actually handing you the hamburger, the server.
Right.
Even if the burger itself is technically perfect, if the server is rude or dismissive, it kind of ruins the experience, doesn't it?
Totally. Puts a bad taste in your mouth, regardless of the food.
Exactly. So in language, this is about how you express your relationship with the other person and your own feelings or attitude. It covers politeness, the emotions you convey, how certain or uncertain you sound. It's the tone, the vibe, the how to convey it effectively considering the relationship.
Okay, let me see if I've got this. Language hamburger. Ideational is the meaty information, the ingredients. Textual is how you structure it, the assembly, the flow, the wrapper. And interpersonal is how you convey it, the tone, the relationship, the server's attitude.
That's a perfect summary. Visualizing it that way really helps, I think.
It does. It breaks down something complex into manageable parts.
And just being aware of these three things, the content, the structure, the interpersonal tone, it gives you so much more power to consciously choose your words and design your communication for better results.
Right. It's not just saying stuff. It's designing how you say it based on these perspectives.
Exactly.
Okay. Theory is good. I get the hamburger. Now let's make it practical. The source, the cafe chat, they use a really common scenario, didn't they? Reporting progress when you're running late, something everyone dreads.
Oh, yeah. A classic tough conversation. They walk through how language design thinking helps here.
So what's step A, the before picture?
Step A is what they call pre-design communication. This is often how it goes when we haven't thought it through. Kotal might nervously shuffle over and mumble something like, manager, hi. Yeah, about the report. It's, well, it's still not quite done yet.
Oh, God. The cringe. The vague, slightly panicked update. We've all done that.
We have. And as the source points out, that kind of response, it just makes the boss more anxious.
Because they have no idea what's going on. When will it be done? What's the actual problem? Is it a disaster?
Exactly. No clarity, just worry. So step B is to actively design the response using those three meta functions.
Okay, break it down for us. How do we apply the hamburger ingredients here? Ideational first.
Right. Ideationally. Think specifics. What progress has been made? Instead of not finished, can you say, I'm about 80% done?
Ah, concrete numbers. Good.
What's the specific reason for the delay? Analyzing the data took longer is better than just it's taking time. And crucially, when realistically will it be completed? Focus on objective facts, the what.
Okay. Get the facts straight. Progress, reason, new deadline. What about the textual side, the structure?
Here you think about order. What does the boss need to hear first to feel, well, less anxious? Should you lead with the apology?
Maybe.
Or maybe give the quick reason first.
Yeah.
Or maybe the most important thing is to state the new completion date right up front. It'll be done by tomorrow morning.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, maybe leading with the solution is better.
It depends on the boss and the situation, but you need to think about that structure, how to package it for easy understanding and reassurance. What's the best flow?
Got it. Consider the order for maximum clarity and minimum anxiety. And finally, the interpersonal aspect, the tone, the delivery.
Yeah, how do you say it? You obviously need to apologize sincerely for the delay,
Yeah.
but you also want to sound responsible, like you're owning it and you have a plan. Not making excuses, but explaining.
Right. Confident even though you're late.
Exactly. Maintain that professionalism. Show respect. Adjust the formality based on your relationship. Project a positive, problem-solving attitude alongside the apology.
Okay, so put it all together. After thinking through the facts, ideational, the structure, textual, and the tone, interpersonal,
Yeah.
what does a well-designed late progress report sound like?
The cafe offered this example, which is much better. Good afternoon, manager. Regarding the presentation document you requested the other day, I apologize, but analyzing the related data is taking longer than initially anticipated.
Okay, clear reason, polite opening.
Then, I'm currently about 80% complete.
Concrete progress, good.
And the key part, I will finish and submit it by tomorrow morning.
The commitment, the new deadline right there.
Exactly. And then finishing with, I am very sorry for the delay and appreciate your patience.
Wow. Okay, that is worlds apart from it's not done yet.
Isn't it?
Even though the basic fact it's late is the same, this version feels so much more professional, reassuring, and clear.
It conveys sincerity. It gives concrete information that 80%, the reason, and most importantly, it gives that firm completion time. That's what the boss needs to know. It should really put their mind at ease, or at least give them a solid basis for discussion.
Yeah, manages the situation instead of just reporting a problem. It's a fantastic, practical example of language design in action.
It really is.
And this isn't just for sticky situations like being late, is it? This whole language design thinking idea feels like it applies much more broadly.
Oh, absolutely. Master Nekokichi has this great analogy. He says, words are like furniture.
Okay.
Just changing the arrangement transforms the room.
Ah, I like that. The atmosphere changes.
Exactly. The way we choose our words, the way we arrange them, it completely changes the feel of a conversation, the strength of the relationship, how well people understand each other.
So you could use this for like writing clearer emails.
Definitely. Or giving instructions to a colleague so they actually understand what you need.
Or maybe even navigating those difficult personal conversations.
Absolutely. Anytime communication clarity and relationship matter, which is pretty much always thinking about the ideational, textual, how to structure, and interpersonal, how to convey aspects, can make a huge difference.
So maybe listeners could think about a recent communication challenge they had, where they felt misunderstood or just couldn't quite get their point across.
Yeah, that's a great exercise. Could applying a little bit of this language design thinking, maybe focusing on the structure or the tone or just being clear on the facts, could that have changed the outcome?
It's really about shifting from just talking to consciously designing our communication.
That's the core of it, becoming more aware, more intentional.
This has been super insightful. Language design thinking, it's not about complicated rules. It's about awareness and making better choices with our words to connect better with others.
And remembering that communication isn't just transmitting data, right? It's building understanding. It's managing relationships.
Definitely. Now, speaking of connecting, the folks back at the Language Design Thinking Cafe Kotohatsumugi, they're actually curious to hear from you, the listener.
Oh, yeah.
They're asking things like, how should I design my words in this specific situation? They want to hear about your word-related worries or communication puzzles.
That's cool. So if you're facing a tricky communication scenario, or just have a question about choosing the right words.
Yeah, they suggest heading over to their YouTube channel. It's just called Language Design Thinking, and dropping your thoughts or questions in the comments there.
Nice. Community interaction.
And we got a little heads up. Their next theme is apparently going to be Designing thank you.
Ooh, that sounds simple, but I bet there's a lot to unpack there. How to make gratitude really land
All
effectively.
right. Sounds like another good one.
Indeed. So look, if you found this deep dive helpful, if you're maybe thinking about your own communication a little differently now,
If you're ready to try designing your language a bit more consciously,
we really appreciate it if you could show some support. Like this. Share it. Let others know.
it helps us keep these conversations going. And maybe, just maybe, take a second to think about your own word room, like Negakichi's furniture analogy.
Hmm.
Is there any furniture you could rearrange, any small changes you could make to how you use words to make that communication space work a little better for you and the people you talk to?
It's an ongoing process, isn't it? Always learning, always refining how we connect through language.
Definitely something to think about.